This is about books. It's about a library. The first time they opened up a children's library, or a library in Limerick. There was no library for children, but my mother there was a library for adults, and my mother used to send me to this library to get her books. I had to have a note to get in. The librarians in Ireland were different from the librarians here. The librarians in Ireland were afraid we might read a book. So I'd get a note from my mother to go and get. It's raining so hard one day. Miss O'Rear in the library says, "Don't go out in that rain or you'll ruin the books you're carrying. Sit down over there and behave yourself. You can read all about the saints while you're waiting." There are 4 big books, Butler's Lives of the Saints. I don't want to spend my life reading about saints, but when I start, I wish the rain would last forever. Whenever you see pictures of saints, men or women, they're always looking up to heaven, where there are clouds filled with little fat angels carrying flowers or harps, giving praise. My uncle, Pa Keating, says he can't think of a single saint in heaven he'd want to sit down and have a pint with. The saints in these books are different. There are stories about virgins, martyrs, virgin martyrs, and they're worse than any horror film at the Lyric Cinema. I have to look in the dictionary to find out what a virgin is. I know the mother of God is the Virgin Mary, and they call her that because she didn't have a proper husband, only poor old St. Joseph. And in the lives of the saints, the virgins are always getting into trouble, and I don't know why. The dictionary says virgin, woman, usually a young woman who is and remains in a state of inviolate chastity. Now I have to look up inviolate chastity. And all I can find here is that inviolate means not violate, and chastity means chaste, and that means pure from unlawful sexual intercourse. Now I have to look up intercourse. And that leads to copulation, the union of the sexes in the art of generation. I don't know what that means. And I'm too weary going from one word to another in this heavy dictionary, which leads me on a wild goose chase from this word to that word, and all because the people who wrote the dictionary don't want the likes of me to know anything. All I want to know is where I came from. But if you ask anyone, they tell you ask someone else or send you from word to word. All these virgin martyrs are told by the Roman judges they had to give up their faith and accept the Roman gods, but they say nay. That's how virgin martyrs taught. Nay. And the judges have them tortured and killed. My favorite is St. Christina the Astonishing, who takes ages to die. The judge says, cut off her breast, and when they do, she throws it at him. And he goes deaf and blind. Another judge is brought on the case, and he says, cut off the other breast, and the same thing happens. They tried to kill her with arrows, but they just bounce off her and kill the soldiers who shot them. They tried to boil her in oil, but she rocks in the vat and takes a nap for herself. Then the judges get fed up and have her head cut off, and that does the job. The Feast of St. Christina the Astonishing is the 24th of July, and I think I'll keep that for myself, along with the Feast of St. Francis of Assisi, the 4th of October. The librarian says, you have to go home now. The rain has stopped. And when I'm going out the door, she calls me back. She wants to write a note to my mother, and she doesn't mind one bit if I read it. The note says, Dear Mrs. McCourt, just when you think Ireland has gone to the dogs altogether, you find a boy sitting in the library, so absorbed in the lives of the saints, he doesn't realize the rain has stopped. And you have to drag him away from the aforesaid lives. I think, Mrs. McCourt, you might have a future priest on your hands. And I light a candle in hopes it comes true. I remain, yours truly, Catherine O'Riordan, Assistant Librarian.
Thank you.